Accord has been a long-time partner, an ally of peace building, of the peace building community, and of course of the Peace Building Support Office. And they've been doing amazing peace building work in across Africa. So Vasu, such a pleasure to host you today. Let me start by asking you a bit of a question about your impressions, your analysis of how the pandemic has affected peace building in the continent. You have been publishing now for many weeks a COVID-19 conflict and resilience monitor. You've been tracking how the pandemic has been not only evolving but also affecting peace building efforts. What do you see as the broad trends in the continent about the impact of the pandemic?
Marc-André, so what we have been doing since the onset is publishing, as you said, this monitor, and we have been tracking conflicts on 7 indicators. And I'll give you the 7 indicators very quickly: stigmatization and discrimination, trust between citizens and institutions, livelihood insecurity and its economic impact, domestic and gender-based violence, criminal-related incidents, political unrest or violence, and then cross-border interstate tensions. And our findings over the now 30 weeks that we have been producing the monitor is, firstly, I think we have seen a drop in crime across the continent, but a rise in gender-based violence. And I think this has been globally, not just on the continent. And secondly, a drop in conflict, social protest, etc., but a rise in insurgencies. And again, that's understandable because security forces are generally have been deployed to deal with the health crisis, and vacuums that have been left in parts of countries that are not governed have been occupied by radicalized insurgencies or by crime syndicates. The health crisis, which may not have been such a bad crisis, but because the measures were taken to stem the virus, those measures themselves have led to an economic crisis, as we now know. A debt crisis on the continent, and that itself will manifest over a period of time. But then also, a number of businesses have shut down, and so we've got an unemployment crisis also. And that has impacted largely on young people who themselves have been unemployed. And now so the pandemic, in a sense, has exacerbated the situation.
What would be your recommendation for international partners, for national governments now that are confronting those crises?
We have to strengthen local capacity to manage conflicts internally so that it doesn't get to a stage where it spills over into the region and then it's too late and we have to activate the UN, the AU, etc. for peacekeeping, and it becomes extremely complex at that point. Now, I've seen the report that just came out from the Mediation Support Unit, DPPA, on strengthening the capacity of local institutions. I was just going through it today, and I think that's really where we need to put the emphasis and where we need to put a lot of our energies. How do we build local interlocutors, local mediators, so that, whilst it may not be possible, for example, let's take Ethiopia at this point. Yeah. At this point in Ethiopia, it's, the government declares it as an internal conflict, and one that, at this point, they are not seeing the need for external interveners. But we know that at this point, there is a need for somebody to at least begin some kind of discussion. And, if we have had already people inside Ethiopia who could rise above the politics and who stand in a position where they can then intervene at that level. We need local interlocutors, local mediators. And I think that's where, the UN, we are putting a lot of emphasis. We're working now with FemWise in Africa. We've just done 30 workshops, using online technology. And then with the AU Youth Envoy's Office, we did 20 intergenerational dialogues. The report was just released yesterday on that, identifying, a number of the challenges that young people are facing. And then through FemWise, we're identifying the challenges that women are facing. But at the same time, equipping young people, young women and older women to be agents of change and agents of peace so that they can participate in these processes.
Thank you so much, Vasu, for your insights, and many congratulations to the wonderful work that Accord is doing. And we're really honored to have you today on building peace during the pandemic. So thank you so much.